Hey, welcome back, everybody. Another weekly review after last week, post-election, saw a market run up quickly, maybe got a little ahead of itself. We've had a pullback to a degree this week, and things are kind of settling in a little bit. So what's your thoughts on what's happened over this last week after that big move post-election?
Yeah, I think markets get ahead of themselves. They often do. As we mentioned, markets sort of breathed a sigh of relief that we had this decisive election, and there's no questions, and it wasn't prolonged, and then certainly there was a respite of buying or an urgent sense of buying, and chasing stocks is never a wise idea, and it's exactly why we sort of cautioned, said, hey, let's take it a step at a time. But markets do go down.
Yeah.
I think
they actually did in October this month too.
Yeah, markets were red, and many people don't even believe they don't know that. Believe it or not, the markets were down in October overall. And markets have, at least I saw before cutting this, have now given back the move post-election. So all that excitement and all that euphoria after the election, at least in the stock market, is now gone. And I think what's happening is, first of all, it's been a great year. And anytime you have a run-up like we've seen, profit-taking is inevitable. I mean, that is part of the ebb and flow of markets. The question is, how long does that transpire? Is it a week? Is it a month? Is it several months? We don't know. That's to be determined. But it's precisely why we sort of have been reducing risk, which we've talked about quite a bit. Now, candidly, I don't think the run is over, in my opinion. I think that markets are shuffling a little bit. There's probably certain sectors that are going to do better under this administration than others. RFK was just appointed as the sort of head of healthcare. That's not great for some of the pharmaceutical companies. Healthcare companies seem to be selling off, and we're seeing that. But then other names like energy names are starting to do very well. So we have a big earnings report next week in NVIDIA. That's going to be market moving. But, we're rolling into the holidays, November, and then Christmas, and so I'm hard-pressed to think that it gets real ugly from here. I'd be shocked if that happened.
Because normal seasonality as you get into the close of the year, Santa Claus rally, and that kind of thing is to be expected to a degree.
That's right, as well as many of the investors who have been sidelined, if they've been waiting for this election to kind of conclude, and then they're getting a pullback, that would normally be the time you would see new money come in and buy up that weakness. So it's giving us an opportunity for people that have been on the sidelines for whatever reason, new money, new cash, to do a little bit of buying here. But for most of our folks, obviously, we're not. We're just kind of sitting tight and hanging in there. But it's going to be interesting to watch because in short order, we're going to go into Thanksgiving holiday season, which traditionally is very light trading volumes. Markets are predicting a big move after NVIDIA, so that's going to be interesting to watch. And then we roll right into the holiday season, which, as you just mentioned, seasonality from a Santa Claus rally perspective is usually pretty good. So, in summary, I think, listen, markets certainly got ahead of themselves. The pullback is to be expected. We're not at all surprised by that. It could get a little bit uglier first, but I do think I'd be surprised if we don't finish the year on a high note, candidly.
Yeah. Well, and we have to keep in perspective, too. Like you said, it's been a great year. We've had
a great 2 years.
Exactly. It's been a great 2 years that we've had. And markets don't just live in like one little chamber of one thing that happens where you have an election. We've talked about some of the good things that can come from that, but there's a lot of other things that are going on, economic data, earnings that are continuing to come out. So we continue to watch those and monitor those into the close of the year. But like you said, we kind of still feel like pretty solid into the close and still some concerns and why we've been defensive for kind of the longer term.
Yeah, and I think in summary, I think if you watch it so closely, I don't care who you are, it's going to drive you nuts. I mean, on the upside and the downside. I mean, I think you just have to – it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I think you have to, keep things in perspective. We're all or should be very long-term investors, allocation appropriate. Let the market do its thing. I mean, it's gonna scare you on the downside. It's going to get you too excited on the upside. Let's just be even keel.
Anything else you should add before we go into the next couple of weeks? I know we'll have some writings that come out in the near future as well, but as we roll into Thanksgiving,
enjoy the holiday season.
Enjoy it. Thanks.